The bold and the beautiful, the Italian's secret Dante's arrival, Ridge's scandal, and the war for Forrester creations. In a world where secrets have power and the past never stays buried, The Bold and the Beautiful has detonated its most shocking revelation in years. Taylor Hayes returns to Los Angeles with a bombshell so explosive it doesn't just shake the foundation of the Forrester family, it shatters it completely. After months away in Europe under the pretense of focusing on professional commitments, Taylor steps back into the lives of the Forresters with a quiet resolve and a sealed envelope that holds the power to rewrite everything. Her face says it all the moment she steps into the Forrester estate. Tense, haunted, unblinking. And when Ridge Forrester stands before her, asking with that familiar mix of charm and caution, "What's wrong?" the answer is a single name: Dante. The words come tumbling out with surgical precision. Years ago, during one of Ridge's long trips to Italy, a time marred by distance, confusion, and one of many splits between Ridge and Brooke, he had a short-lived affair with a woman named Alessia Romano. Taylor, then estranged from Ridge, but still emotionally tethered, knew of the liaison. What she did not know until now was that the affair had resulted in a child. Ridge has a son. A grown son. In Italy. Named Dante. Silence. Pure, deafening silence falls over the room as Ridge's face goes pale. The timeline fits. The math adds up. Taylor, deeply conflicted, explains that she only learned the truth after reconnecting with Alessia before her sudden death, her final confession, a letter revealing that Dante was Ridge's biological child. A DNA test followed. It confirmed everything. Ridge had unknowingly fathered a son who had grown up in Europe, away from the name, the legacy, the fortune, and the war that defined the Forrester name. Brooke hears the news through whispered voices before the full truth is brought to her. When she learns, she is devastated. The man she believed had given her his complete honesty, the man she had fought and forgiven through decades of heartbreak, had another child, another betrayal, another secret. And worse, Taylor had known and kept it long enough to prepare the news, gather the proof, and decide when to reveal it on her terms. Hope is blindsided. Learning that she has a half-brother, fully grown and arriving with baggage and ambition, sends her spiraling. Not only is this man a stranger, but he is a direct threat to the fragile balance she's tried to maintain at Forrester. Her trust in Ridge fractures instantly. And the tension between her and her mother reaches a boiling point when Brooke begins to defend Ridge, calling it a mistake from the past that doesn't define the man he is today. But the past doesn't stay quiet for long. Dante Forrester arrives in Los Angeles. He steps off the plane with calculated grace. Late 30s. Impeccably dressed. Fluent in English and Italian. Eyes sharp. Voice cool. There's no dramatics. No outbursts. Just presence. And ambition. He doesn't come begging for a family. He comes with one clear, unapologetic goal. He wants his place at Forrester Creations. And not just as a guest or intern. He believes the company is his birthright, his inheritance, his destiny. In meetings, he speaks clearly, concisely. He unveils a portfolio of luxury menswear he's designed under his own label in Milan. He presents a vision refined, strategic, globally scalable. And then he delivers his final line: "I'm not here to ask for permission. I'm here to take my seat at the table. My name is Dante Forrester. And this was always supposed to be mine." The room freezes. Ridge tries to reason with him, explaining that time and place matter, that things are complicated. But Dante counters every point with poise and facts. He brings numbers. Italian sales. Market share. Trend forecasting. He doesn't just have a claim. He has a case. A business case. and he has no intention of backing down. Steffi Forrester is furious. She sees Dante as an intruder, someone exploiting the family's shame. She accuses Ridge of betrayal not just to Brooke, but to the family legacy. She threatens to block any executive appointment Dante might seek. Thomas, still recovering from his own breakdowns and seeking redemption, watches cautiously, unsure if Dante is a threat or an opportunity. Zend sees his own role threatened. Carter, caught between loyalty and law, confirms that Dante, as Ridge's biological child, has a legitimate claim to shares if Ridge acknowledges him formally. Ridge does. The moment he signs the legal document confirming Dante's paternity, the wheels are set in motion. Dante becomes an official shareholder in Forrester Creations. He's assigned a provisional role, co-creative director of Forrester International. But he wants more. He wants the main line. He wants control. Hope tries to extend an olive branch, but Dante sees through her. He tells her that kindness, in this business, is often a strategy. That if she wants to keep her line afloat, she'll need to rethink how she plays the game. Their interactions are laced with tension, professional, personal, and electric. Brooke watches it all with growing dread. The son of another woman now stands inside her family, inside the company. And Taylor, the messenger of this madness, remains collected, strategic. Watching Brooke twist in the very storm she once weathered herself. But Dante isn't here to play petty family politics. He begins building alliances. Quietly. He impresses Eric. He charms international clients. He garners interest from investors. His presence alone begins shifting loyalties within the company. And when Ridge begins contemplating stepping back from active design, Dante doesn't wait, he steps forward. He proposes a restructure. One where he and Hope split creative control, or he takes full lead on menswear and international strategy. Hope resists. Steffi resists harder. The board divides. Then Dante makes his boldest move yet. He calls for an official vote to elevate himself to senior creative executive, a title that would give him executive access and design control across all major lines. The room ignites. Steffi threatens to resign. Hope warns that Forrester is becoming a battlefield. Brooke confronts Ridge, pleading with him to block the vote. But Ridge, conflicted, exhausted, and guilt-ridden, abstains. The vote passes. Dante rises. The fashion world watches in awe and horror as a previously unknown heir storms into a legendary dynasty and bends it to his will. Media headlines call him the Italian invasion. Investors call him visionary. Internally, the Forresters call him a threat. But Dante doesn't care. He stands at the window of his new office, overlooking the Forrester courtyard, and smiles. Not out of cruelty, but fulfillment. The moment he was denied at birth, he has taken back. But under the surface, something darker brews. Taylor begins to suspect that Dante's motives may not be as pure as they seem. Old connections. Whispers from Milan. A past scandal buried overseas. Something about his confidence feels too rehearsed. And when she digs deeper, she uncovers something chilling. Dante didn't just come to claim his inheritance. He came to erase the Forresters who denied him and rebuild the empire in his image. Now the question is no longer whether Dante belongs. It's whether anyone can stop him. Because in the bold and the beautiful, bloodlines don't just define families, they divide them. And sometimes, the greatest threat isn't from the outside. It's the son you never knew you had. The bold and the beautiful. Bloodlines and betrayal, Finn's discovery, Sheila's unraveling, and the threat to the Forrester family. Everything changed the moment Dr. John Finnegan decided to look into his ancestry. What began as a quiet personal project and exploration into the roots of the man he believed he was uncovered a truth so dark, so deliberately hidden, that it threatens to unravel every lie, every bond, and every illusion tied to his past. Because what Finn found buried in sealed records and off-the-book hospital files wasn't just a mistake, it was a cover-up. And at the center of it all was Sheila Carter. For years, Sheila claimed to be Finn's biological mother, a claim she had paraded to manipulate, threaten, and inch her way into the Forrester family by proxy. Her miracle son, as she often called him, had been her shield, her excuse, and her obsession. But Finn's curiosity, sharpened by an unshakable feeling that something didn't quite add up, led him to run his own genetic test, using confidential hospital equipment and accessing archived patient data that had been long buried. What he found was not a match between him and Sheila. Not a close relationship. Not even distant. No biological connection whatsoever. Stunned, Finn dug deeper. Records were missing. Birth certificates redacted. And then came the name. Rebecca Langston, a woman who disappeared from a birthing facility nearly 4 decades ago, the same facility Sheila had worked at as a nurse at the time. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a thread, and once pulled, it unraveled everything. Sheila hadn't just lied. She had stolen him. According to incomplete but damning evidence, Finn had been born to another woman, a patient of the hospital who died under mysterious circumstances shortly after childbirth. The baby disappeared. The death was ruled natural. But the inconsistencies in the file pointed to foul play, and the name listed under attending nurse was unmistakable: Sheila Carter. The evidence was fragmented, but the implication was horrifying. Sheila had staged her own maternity. She had taken a child that wasn't hers, hidden the truth, and raised him as a pawn for future leverage. Finn confronted her with the results. Quietly at first. Calmly. But Sheila, always perceptive when it came to threat detection, saw it in his eyes before he said a word. The confrontation began in her apartment, behind closed doors, where there were no witnesses. Finn showed her the test results. Sheila's face dropped. Her body stiffened. Her hands shook. And then came the laugh, high-pitched, erratic, and utterly unhinged. "You don't understand what you're talking about," she snapped. "Those records were wrong. Tampered with. That was a long time ago. The system is broken. You're my son. You'll always be my son." But Finn didn't flinch. "You're not my mother," he said. "You never were." And just like that, Sheila cracked. In a split second, her entire persona shifted. The faux remorse, the fragile tears, the desperate pleas all gone. In its place, rage. Blinding, uncontrolled, animalistic rage. Sheila lunged, screaming that he was ungrateful, that she sacrificed everything, that she did what she had to do. But Finn, trained and determined, got out. He left with his evidence and the full realization that the woman he thought was his mother had built her entire identity on a lie. It didn't end there. Within days, Sheila showed up at the Cliff house uninvited, unannounced. Steffi was home alone with the children. Sheila didn't knock. She just walked in. She told Steffi she needed to speak to Finn. That he was confused. That he was being poisoned by outside voices. Steffi ordered her to leave. Sheila refused. The confrontation escalated quickly, turning physical as Sheila tried to push past her. It took everything in Steffi to remain composed, shielding the kids, dialing 911, and managing to stall Sheila long enough for authorities to arrive. By the time they got there, Sheila had fled. That was the last straw. Finn filed a restraining order. Ridge and Steffi brought in private security. Brooke went to the media to expose Sheila's past once more. But none of it was enough. Because Sheila had completely snapped. She began stalking the Cliff house. She watched from a distance. She left toys for the children on the porch. She carved messages into trees nearby. One note read, "A mother never forgets." Finn took leave from the hospital. He spent every waking hour trying to uncover more about his true origins while protecting his family from a woman who had gone from deranged to dangerously unpredictable. He found traces of the truth, a death certificate falsified. A social worker paid off. A nurse who had vanished under mysterious circumstances after asking questions. All signs pointed back to Sheila, whose history of identity shifts, violence, and pathological obsession now seemed even deeper than anyone had known. The Forresters called a meeting. Taylor returned from Europe. Even Eric was shaken to the core. They discussed whether they could have done more, whether they should have seen this coming. But guilt gave way to urgency. They needed to act before Sheila struck again. But Sheila was already planning. Her mind, warped by years of deception and rejection, now told her one thing. Finn was hers. The family he had built with Steffi? A delusion. The children? An obstacle. Steffi? A thief. And if she couldn't have her son back the way she wanted him, then no one would. She broke into the house again. This time in the middle of the night. But Finn was waiting. He had anticipated her. Security cameras caught her car. He sat in the dark, gun in hand, not to kill, but to confront. To end it. When Sheila entered the nursery, she found him there, holding a picture of the woman he had just confirmed was his biological mother, Rebecca Langston. She was innocent, he said. You weren't. You stole me from her. You destroyed 2 lives. And you don't get to take mine. But Sheila didn't beg. She stepped forward, slowly, and said, "You're still mine. In here." She touched her chest. "And if I can't have you, then I'll make sure you never belong to them." Finn called the police. Sheila didn't resist. She was taken into custody, but not before looking back one last time and whispering, "We're not done." Now, Sheila faces new charges. Evidence continues to surface. Investigations are widening. And Finn, though physically safe, is changed forever. He walks through life knowing he was born of tragedy, raised by a monster, and that his entire identity was constructed on a stolen foundation. Steffi stands beside him, but the family is shaken. The children ask questions. Beth cries when she hears someone mention Sheila's name. And every creak in the floor, every knock at the door, still sends a chill down Steffi's spine. Because with Sheila, nothing ever ends. Not really. In the bold and the beautiful, the past is never buried. The truth is never clean. And when bloodlines are lies, love becomes a battlefield where even family can become fatal.